I'm rolling.
Hello, and welcome to the first time in a long time a Random Adventure interview with no other than Allen Boardman. Allen, welcome to my bike room.
Thank you.
What do you think of my bike room?
It's probably the best bike room I've been in all year.
You've not been to many bike rooms this year, have you?
Up to one.
Up to one. There we go. So, anyway, do you want to give a quick introduction about yourself? We have kind of possibly met anyway, and people on YouTube who follow myself hopefully would anyway follow yourself as well, you'd hope. But yeah, Alan, do you want to just give a quick introduction?
Yeah, sure. My name's Allen Boardman and I bike pack and have fun on a bike.
Yeah.
Sleep out in ditches and ride long distances or short distances. It all depends.
Yeah. And we're here today to talk about your latest adventure, which you didn't actually film because you were basically, it's been a big event to you, this one, hasn't it? And you've definitely not wanted to put any barriers in the way, or stresses, should we say, to prevent you from finishing this. So, you've just done the Highland Trail 550.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you.
So do you want to tell people, because you've been there, you've done it, you know what it is. Do you want to tell people what is the HT550?
In a nutshell, it's the best, worst mountain bike ride going that I've ever done. I've had so much fun and so much pain on it. It's a 550-mile self-supported mountain bike race around the Scottish Highlands.
Yeah. It does a big figure of 8, doesn't it?
It does, like, that sort of thing. So it does like 3 circles.
Okay.
So it's like an 8 with an extra bit on top.
Right.
And that extra bit on top is like the northern loop that I was scared of. So yeah,
right.
it's over 16,000 meters of climbing.
Okay.
Which is almost to Everest.
Yes. And also, just for context, quite a chunk of this ride is not rideable.
Yeah, that's correct. There's a lot of walking.
Yes.
A lot of hiking and a lot of carrying your bike over mountains.
Yes. And as we are going to see shortly, when we look at your bike, although we have just done that video because we're conscious about the weather, your bike is not an easy thing to carry. No,
and in fact there was a lot of comments about the actual weight of it. A few people picked it up and were like, "What are you carrying?" Yeah, and they started making me worry. I was like, "Why are they doing that?"
Yeah.
But I took as little as I could, but as much as I needed to make sure I was...
Much as you were comfortable carrying.
Basically, yeah. I wanted to be warm, I wanted to be fed, so I had emergency food. I had more layers than maybe other people, but, you know,
you were warm.
Happy. I was warm and
you finished it, so,
yeah.
Testament to that, you finished the event. This event, can anybody enter this?
You've got to almost qualify for it. You've got to show
pedigree.
Kind of, yeah. It's like a riding CV. You can't just like ride to the cafe and back twice a week and then be like, oh, I want to do the Highland Trail.
Yeah.
You've got to like do something big or be out there a lot. So I've done a lot of bike packing locally. I've done a lot of bike packing in Scotland. I've done a week in Iceland, self-supported on the bike. And one of the main things was to do the Lakeland 200, which is designed by the race director, Alan Goldsmith. It was 200k, 7,000 metres of climbing. And if you can do that in the Lake District in sub 40 hours, you've got a good chance of being considered. So I've done the Lakeland 200, sub 40, just about like 38 hours something, so really cutting it fine. And then sent him an email saying, look what I've done, sort of thing. And he was like, oh, okay.
Right on.
Yeah, basically, and got on the finishers list. And then when the opening chance was to get on the Highland Trail, or at least send an email of intent, I fired it over and thought, if I get in, I get in. If I don't, I don't.
Yeah.
He texted back, email back, and other people at the same time saying congratulations, and yeah.
So your lead up to this, obviously it's not been the best winter going, but do you want, because to make the ride easy, to make the ride achievable, there's a lot of work that needs to happen in the lead up to this. So what was your training regime like to be able to finish an event like this?
Um,
Both mentally and physically, I think, are two very resilient things that you need to have here.
Yeah, you're not wrong. There's a lot of self-doubt, which I had to work on my mind and train my mind to understand what I was doing, the magnitude of it. But at the end of the day, it's a bike ride.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go and ride my bike in the Highlands.
Yeah.
I love the Highlands. What's wrong with that? So it was a lot of sort of going around in circles, and I think I'm not good enough, thinking I'm good enough, going around like that. So that mental thing that was just worked on almost 24/7. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, thinking like Highland Trail. How am I going to do that? It's a long distance, 500 and something miles. It's nuts. So that was work in progress all the time, and still is to this. For whatever else I might sign up for, it'll always be there. But the physical side of it, I really struggled with getting out and doing the distances and the hours on the bike that I needed. So I had like 3 HIIT sessions a week on the turbo at home.
Yeah.
I had 2 rowing sessions, but a day off in the working weeks on Monday to Friday. The day off was Monday. So Tuesday was a HIIT session. Wednesday it was a HIIT session and a rowing session. And then I had a big sort of FTP test every month or something like that.
Okay.
And a shorter HIIT session, and then I'll go out for the weekend. So it was like a perfect week. Looked like about 6 days training.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then if you're riding an event and I don't think it was, how long did it take you to do the Highland Trail in?
Oh yeah, 7 days, 10 hours and 47 minutes.
So
slowest mile.
So basically, doing an intense 6-day training week, you did an intense 7-day event. So that physical load you're putting on your body probably gave you the resilience to be able to finish something in 7 days. Yeah.
There was a lot of times where I thought I needed a coach. Reached out to a couple. Some came back to me. Some were too expensive and well worth the money, but I just couldn't stretch to it.
Yeah.
One sort of promised me the world and delivered nothing, so I didn't even get as far as going with anybody, and I just had to trust myself. And I've trained for big stuff before, and I just had to trust myself that what I was doing was right. So I'd listen to a load of podcasts and everything to try and see if I was going along the right sort of way. So yeah, it was a lot. There was a lot per week, but it was going to take about a week. Yeah. So it did help my mental state as well. Good.
Talking about the training, did you use anything like Training Peaks or any other software like that, or was it just basically like Strava or looking at numbers? Or
well, I didn't really use Strava because I don't really publicise any training. I don't want people to say you're doing it right, doing it wrong, doing good, you're not doing good, try this. I want to trust myself, so I don't share any of that. And I was using Zwift. Because I've used Zwift since 2017.
Before everybody jumped on it on COVID.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I've got all my own custom training profiles in there, and then I can make a sort of a month worth of training. Yeah. Sort of getting more intense each and every week to what I want to do. Yeah. So I used Zwift quite a lot, but I only tend to use it in the winter. When it gets to around about April, I'll cancel my subscription, and then I'll
their shares must literally just plunge as soon as the sun comes out, because everybody does it. Basically, for those that don't know, Zwift is a online smart turbo training software where the resistance on your turbo trainer, you can go uphill, downhill, you can go on social rides, social races online, and cheat online and get into scandals and all that kind of stuff as well. But yeah, it's also a good training tool for a lot of people as well. Then on the ride, so you said there was a lot of highs. Let's start on the positive note, shall we? What was the most beautiful thing about the event?
It's probably going to be when I was in the most northerly point, the furthest away from Tyndrum, up in the Bay Horn. The sun was shining. it was clear skies. You could see all the mountain for what it was showing you, and it was just absolutely mind blowing. That was probably, every time someone says what was the best part, that memory comes flooding right back to me, because it wasn't that easy to get there, and I knew it was going to get harder from them. But I just had this sort of overwhelming sense of like accomplishment. I was riding. I turned around. I was riding back to Tyndrum then. Yeah,
so you were on the home straight after then as well.
In my head it was yeah.
And something I feel when I do my long distance rides, and it's not every ride thankfully, but sometimes you end up in this low spot on a ride where you're thinking about quitting, but then you might have something to eat and you might start plodding, and suddenly you get back up again after that. And I find that's one of the most sweetest moments in the ride, almost, is getting through coming out of the dark into the light, almost, if you will. Did you have any of them moments?
I had plenty of low moments, but at not one point did scratching or turning an easier way or whatever, that didn't ever cross my mind.
Right.
I wasn't going to let scratching be a choice or an option.
Yeah.
I've scratched some things before and it absolutely ruined me. I get so depressed about not completing something, so that was never there. But I had really low moments where I didn't enjoy part of the trail, or it was yet another climb and I hadn't recovered from the last one, or I was pushing my bike for 4 hours through Leadmore Traverse. There's lots of times where I wasn't that happy, but I know that if you're not happy, eventually you're going to be happy again. But when you're happy, enjoy it, because that won't stick around either. That
last bit though, I suppose, is there's only a handful of bike rides where all the stars can align and you just have a wow day and everything feels easy and it feels like you've got wings on your ankles almost when you're going up hills and all of that, but like this year, for example, for myself, I had a very rough start to my season. I had COVID in November and in January, so my fitness was completely written off. And then normally when I do my Audaxes early in the season, I wasn't able to actually do them, and I didn't fancy spending 12 hours in the rain in the cold either, but my approach to this season's been very, very different for them reasons. But like you say, like last year, you can be having a lot of fun times. This year, you've just got to grin and bear it sometimes on them rides. For those that are thinking about doing this ride, what 5 bits of advice would you give? And then I think we've got some community questions after
nice. 5 bits of advice. Completely unprepared for this question.
Completely unprepared. We actually had a WhatsApp channel for this as well. But while you think about that.
Okay. 5 bits of advice is, I guess, trust yourself. You will be able to do it if you put in the hard work, so just basically trust yourself. Be prepared. Take more food than you think you need as part of preparation.
And eat it.
And make sure you eat it as well. There's no point carrying it and not eating it.
I'm so guilty of carrying food and not eating it.
I really like food, so timer every hour that goes off to tell me to eat food. So that's like a good part of the ride is to eat. I took a meal for every day that I thought was going to be on the trail.
Yeah.
So I actually took 8 meals with me. So dehydrated food. It was a lot of weight, but I wasn't sure about resupply. And when I would get there for. It doesn't matter if it's only 60k, but that 60k could take 6 hours or it could take 18 hours. I don't know what the terrain was going to be like. So I took a meal for every single day. I came back with about 4, so I didn't eat them all. Choose a mountain bike. for the third option, make sure you do it on a mountain bike. It's very much a mountain bike race. If you've only got a gravel bike, that's fine, but if you've got a choice, make sure it's a mountain bike with a suspension fork. You'll thank me later. I've gotten to 3.
I think another one that I've seen a lot of people is don't take carbon soled XC shoes.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That never even crossed my my mind. I'd never dream about doing that. Like flexible shoes, I clip in. I use Physique Terra Ergo laces because they're good to walk in.
Yeah.
You
but
will be
as
doing
you've
a lot
said,
of
you've done
walking.
there's no point taking carbon shoes on something like that.
Absolutely not, no. The only thing that I didn't do that if I was to do it again and take my own advice is actually go out for some like big long hikes with a rucksack on as part of your training on the lead up to it, because you'll be walking a lot, and then I've been nursing an Achilles issue that I didn't spend enough time strengthening, so a lot of mobility work, strength work and walking.
Yeah, especially with a bike as well, because it's not easy taking your bike for a walk.
No, especially when you got your bags full of really heavy stuff.
Yeah. Cool. Right. Charlie Hobbs says, "What is his downstairs regime?" Of course, he said that.
I actually think I've seen this one. I like this. It's actually quite important. Hygiene. Downstairs, if you don't look after yourself, you're going to get chafing a lot sooner. Chafing can't really sometimes be avoided, but you can get it sooner if you don't look after yourself, getting rid of any germs or anything like that. So basically, rivers are good to wash downstairs in. Talcum powder is amazing. It just makes everything so much nicer. I found out Germaline. I needed Germaline in the 4th or 5th day because of chafing. That was one of the things, and then also I used bum butter after the first day.
Amazing that the guy asked that question and you're now saying...
Well, I bought a big tub of it, and it seems that's why I use the little
knobs
tubs.
Of butter,
You sort of scoop it up. That works like a bit of an antiseptic as well, so it did help with chafage. Before that, I got really bad. That's trying to keep dry, trying to keep clean, and I took 2 pairs of padded shorts, but I didn't have 2 different sets of padded shorts. I had to buy another set of Gore padded shorts because my other ones were written off, they weren't that old, so I bought 2 sets of new ones.
Another thing that I've learnt as well when you do these events is don't have 2 of the same shorts. Sometimes even if you're sponsored by a clothing brand, they will normally do 2 different variations of pads, but sometimes you need a slightly different pad just to put different pressure on a different area of your bum, say. And if you're sore, you might be sitting up a bit taller rather than being in there, and different things like that. So one of my advice is take 2 pairs, but make sure the other pair is slightly different to the pair that you're wearing as well. The other one is, I think this is I'm going to translate the question that John Clymer asked, but I'm actually going to translate the question because I think it's a very relevant question, but the way it's been phrased is kind of like the family at home whilst you're out riding. Because, what we kind of do, it's almost selfish for our own gratification to do these things, but then again, we do need to do them. And you know that your partner's going to be at home kind of looking at your little dot painfully moving for 6 hours across a mountainside as you take your bike for a walk. Is there an agreement that you guys kind of have before you go out on a ride like that? I know she's used to you going out sleeping and she knows you're a big boy and you can look after yourself, but...
Yeah, I mean, accidents can happen regardless of how experienced you are, but a general agreement is if you see my dot moving at any speed, I'm okay. If you see it stop for quite a long time, I'm okay. And if you see me suddenly move at like 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm okay unless I press the SOS button. So basically, don't panic if you can see my dot. If I've got a problem, the SOS button is there and everything will come to me at some point.
I think we'll go now to a image of the trackers that you... Was it a spot tracker?
It was a spot tracker I hired,
so there's a spot tracker. It's a satellite communication thing that puts a dot on a general website. And on these there is a SOS button, which I'm guessing you've had sent through to some numbers that you've put in there. Like Clara, your wife's number.
Carla,
Cool. So, and she's obviously, you it's natural to worry, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is. And I know she's going to be worrying as well.
Yeah.
So there's like a custom check-in button that you can press.
Yeah.
And I just set that up as to be, I'm okay.
Yeah.
So when I would get to somewhere and it was quite late, I know she'd be zooming in on the map and having a look where I was. And then if I stopped for a while and then start, 20 minutes later, she'll get a message to say, I'm okay.
Yeah.
So just pressing that I'm okay, because you can't always get your phone out and text if it's soaking wet, or you just want to move forward.
Or you don't want to get your phone out because it's soaking wet. Yeah.
Well, I had it in airplane mode for, I would say, 99% of the actual ride. And then my data was turned off as well. So whenever I turned it on, it was literally a text message.
Right.
That would come through from Carla to say, I hope you're doing well, keep on, sort of thing.
Yeah, but no Instagram news about
Absolutely
what
nothing,
Justin Bieber's up to these days or anything like that.
That can wait until I'm back at least.
Yeah. Cool. During the ride, it's very, very long and lonely. Is there anything that you listen to, like audiobooks or music or anything like that to help pass the time?
Yeah, I prefer audiobooks, but because my phone was in airplane mode and the data was switched off and I didn't have headphones that plugged into it until the last day, because that was going to be my treat of special music on the last day. Right. I just listened to a little iPod Shuffle. Okay. I've had it for years. I can't take the music off it and I can't add to it. But loads of really, well, I think it's really good music anyway. And I just had that on, and it seemed to last a very long time. It took very little to recharge up again. So I was just listening to the same few hundred songs over and over and over. But I never get bored of old music, so I was quite happy.
Fair enough, yeah. And it's such a tiny device as well.
You just click onto your little thing and just click away and change music if you didn't want to listen to that song again for the 50th time.
Cool. Fantastic. Now, it's one question I hate, to be honest, and you have the right to not answer it, and we will just clip. We will just edit it out if we do it, because kind of like the question, and I kind of feel it should be a question, but I also kind of feel that it's just a bit of a shit question. But have you got any more plans to do any other events?
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, but like I said, it's just like, mate, I've just done, and to be honest, we'll just keep it rolling for this. It's like, mate, I've just fucking done the Highland 550. Yeah. It's like, fucking hell, mate. Let me sit on the beach and read a book.
Yeah, I got asked that within 24 hours of finish.
Yeah. And I know people might want to know, what's your next adventure? Now you're actually going to video it. Yeah. But on the flip side of the coin, it's like, fucking hell, you've literally just achieved something that's been haunting. Because this has been haunting you, this event, for a little while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has. It's taken over my entire life. Yeah. There was like social things that I never went to. Work, I kind of had to take a bit of a. They were really, really good with me. It's some of the stuff that I had to usually do. I couldn't actually do, and all the directors were really cool with me, and they were like, "Don't worry about it. Just do what you got to do, and get the ride done," sort of thing. So, what next?
Like I said, you don't have...
There is no what next. It's I didn't know that I'd be riding the Highland Trail this year. Mm-hmm. I hoped to be riding the Highland Trail, but I didn't know that was going to happen. Yeah. Until you get to the start line, it's like, oh wow, this is the thing. This is what I'm doing. Yeah. And I think everyone wants me to say I've
got to do the Tour Divide or something.
Well, I had messages like, so what next? Tour Divide? Silk Road Mountain Race? I'm not fast. I'm very, very slow. Mm-hmm. I just really pushing myself. Yeah. Really like pushing myself as long as possible. Yeah. Like one of my longest days was 19 and a half hours. Mm-hmm. But there's no what next. Not yet.
That's fair enough. I've not got any events booked in so far this year, and I'm just going to have fun on the bike. Yeah. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with just saying, let's just sit on the beach, read a book.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to sitting on the beach.
You've been to see Taylor Swift since then as well. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, but whatever comes, next. Have a fun time and enjoy yourself riding on it, really, because at the end of the day, we're just pissing about on bikes. We're not curing cancer, are we?
No way.
And again, massive well done on finishing possibly one of the toughest events on the planet, really. The Tour Divide is long, but a lot of it is just ticking off the miles, whereas this is having a mental fortitude to, like you say, drag your bike for 6 hours across the mountain paths.
Yeah.
And
created a flashback for me there.
I saw your face, actually. I think we'll just rewind just to look at your face as you think about dragging your bike like that.
Yeah, that was Fisherfield Forest.
Yeah, but no, again, massive congratulations on
Thank you.
what must be possibly, a massive achievement to yourself there. And I know it does mean a lot to you.
Yeah, it does.
So again, really well done. Thank you. And we are now going to pretend to go outside to look at the bags and his bike that he's used. So thank you. Actually doing this before the interview, so if there's anything that we talked about in the interview about his bike, which we then haven't discussed now, this is why. So Alan, this is a bike that you managed to live on base and with for how many days?
7 days.
7 days.
Just over 7 days.
And this took you over 550 miles around Scotland. So shall we talk about the bike first and then the bags second?
Yeah,
because you've had this bike for quite a few years now, haven't you? And it's in different iterations, but
quite a few different ones to be fair. This frame's from 2015.
Yeah.
So I've had it from everything from 3-inch plus tyres, rigid forks, to 2.35s for 120 mil fork, and as you see it today with 2.6s and 130 mil. Designed by Dan Hunt in Australia.
Not Hunt, the wheel manufacturer.
Not Hunt, the wheel manufacturer.
Yeah.
Common misconception, to be fair. But yeah, it was designed because Dan couldn't find anything that was going to suit him.
Right.
And he just took to it and designed his own bike, and people said they'd ride it and own it, and he ended up building it and they came.
Yeah, fantastic. And you're running a SRAM group set?
Yeah, so it's SRAM GX for the shifter and the rear derailleur. I've had quite a few derailleurs and a few shifters on there in the past.
Yeah.
I always end up wearing them out or bashing them.
You even were electronic last year, but you're not electronic now.
Yeah, so I had electronic for about 2 months and then got scared of it.
Okay.
Didn't let me down, but I just got scared of it because I couldn't tune my gears.
Right.
Because it was before the app was usable offline.
Right.
So I couldn't tune my gears, and I was just like, nah, it's gone.
Okay.
So back to cable. It was an expensive mistake to make, but it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
And a set of SX cranks. They've been on since 2019, and they were a temporary measure. And they're
still there.
Yeah.
And you were on different brakes when I was riding with you New Year's Eve.
Yeah. So for most of the life of this since 2020, I had a set of Megoras on there.
Yeah.
They were brilliant. No problems with them.
Until
last year's Dales Divide, where the front master piston cylinder just squeezed open a bit, and I was losing fluid. Didn't notice until it was too late, meaning that I rode about 500k with just the back brake. Makes you a lot quicker. So I'd done one brake lever, and then when we went out, my back brake done exactly the same
fault,
and I've done about 80k with just the front brake. So they're now just in a bucket somewhere at home, and I decided to splash out and get some Hope brakes. I've always had good experience with Hope brakes. So
and how did they hold up?
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I bled them before I went. So I wanted to make sure I had brakes with no air in,
fresh brakes,
and new pads, and they were absolutely bob on. 160 rotor rear, 180 for the front. I didn't go over the top. Plus they were given to me by my mate Bruce years ago, so they're still going strong. And that's what I'm riding with.
Cool. Now your saddle doesn't look like your traditional mountain bike saddle.
No, it's it's a fabric.
Okay.
It's a fabric scoop.
Right.
maybe. I've actually all of a sudden decided that I hate the saddle.
Or is that just hating spending too much time on the bike, maybe?
Yeah, that's a good question. That maybe it's a bit of both, but I had a lot of chafe issues.
Okay.
Like taking a knife to your underneath and just slicing every 30 minutes or so.
Oh,
Yeah.
like it's trying to perform a vasectomy.
Yeah, I think it succeeded, to be fair. I think it succeeded.
Right. Is your missus watching this on YouTube?
She will be, yeah.
Okay, so we've got the bike. You have suddenly changed all your bags due to a sponsorship that you've acquired this year.
So I've actually used Ace Pack since 2019, 2020.
Okay.
I've used them and been a retail customer of theirs for quite a long time. I used to get them from Barebones Bikepacking.
Okay.
When they had a UK distributor, and I picked some up, and they were absolutely spot on. Yeah, they were Ace, nice. And they put out a application to become a brand ambassador.
Right.
I applied. I know quite a few other folk applied as well, and they were like, "Yeah, we like you. We'll support you." So
cool.
yeah, all the dry bags were brand new from them. Harness brand new. I got this ambassador program acceptance just after I bought the
Okay.
Salsa anything cradle. So it was a couple of quid spent on that, and I kind of have to keep on using it because I like the way it keeps it off the head tube. As you can see over the years, I've had some rubbing.
Yes.
So it's no longer a Hope headset; it's a Ope headset.
Oh.
But yeah, Ace Pack for the main bags, and then we've got a well-worn pocket frame bag.
Yes.
Made in England, designed in England by Mike at Pocket Bags.
Yes. Now we could do a whole episode on emptying your bags.
Yes.
And talking about every bit of gear, and I don't want to make a whole series from this, and I think that's something also if you want on your YouTube channel, since your bike is still this is still his bike from the Highland 500, still packed.
Yeah.
But I feel that's something you could do yourself. But do you want to just talk about how you've packed this bike in general? So you know where things are.
So this is the only thing I'm quite methodical with, is how I pack my bike. Unlike my own life, where I just leave stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
Wife will certainly agree with that. I'm really methodical. I know where everything is at all the time, because obviously if you're tired, you need to know that in there is your fork, or in there is like some jellies or something like that. You know, you just need to get to stuff.
Allen keys are there. I know when the Allen keys
exactly
are.
Yeah, you need to know where they are. So going from the back, my tent is always right at the end.
Yeah.
It's the first thing I want to come out, because I want to just stick it up. And
Get
then I've got my tent, and then take all my bags off and throw them in, because they're all detachable and the harness will stay on. So tent, some warmer clothing. I'll have like sometimes an extra base layer. This year I actually took a set of real boxer shorts, which were my luxury item.
Yeah.
Real boxer shorts at the end of a big long ride. It's just wonderful. I've got some emergency food in there, and then I've got warm socks as well in there. That was my first aid kit, basically.
Okay.
It's not all first aid. There was chain lube in there at one point, and then it switched over to the front. We got like tablets and stuff like that, toothbrush, that sort of thing.
Looking after Allen bag.
Looking after Allen bag, yeah. If something chafes or rubs or needs cleaning, it's in there.
Yeah.
Food, lots of snacks in there. Loads of snacks. I had a slight problem.
And midge spray.
Well, that is deep freeze.
Oh, that's deep freeze. That's not midge spray.
I've been dealing with an Achilles problem.
Right.
Hot since half around. Broken lubrication. Salt tablets, which are brilliant. Fork and stuff. I had snacks in there. Usually have snacks in the other side, but I had a couple of power banks. That's just one of them. Midge net, and a few little electrical items, a few cables and a few sachets of coffee. The coffee, little cable for my front light to reverse charge my phone in an emergency. So in there was a bit of tech, not as much as I usually carry. And in the front is my sleep system.
And socks.
These socks are absolutely soaking wet. So coming down the Devil's Staircase, in the wind, they dried up quite nicely, and they haven't been taken off since. And I found a hat on the trail, so I thought I'd pick it up.
Yeah. Leave no trace.
Yeah, that's the one. Sleeping bag, sleeping mat. In there is also a down set of trousers, down coat, and a hat as well.
Okay.
So it all compresses quite well. That's 8 litres, and that's 8 litres. So.
And then your frame bag, you've got your water in this frame bag.
Yeah. So, oh God knows what's in here.
Dare we open it?
That's my ladder that I use. That usually sits a bit further down, but you can tell towards the end of the Highland Trail I was just chucking it in any which way.
Yeah.
A few odds and sods in here. I've got my water filter where I can grab it, but I'll be lying if I said I used it every day.
Okay.
I only used it on the first day and then I couldn't be bothered. Make your own choices with that.
He did use it, Clara.
Got my stove in there. Got warmer gloves as well, so if I was going to be riding at night, I didn't know how cold it was going to be, so they actually came out a couple of times, which was quite nice. Tent pegs, and I've got a pump. Got a pump there as well.
Yep.
Like strapped to the top. And then the other side, I've got a pocket on the other side, which has got my tie levers and it's got my multi-tool and stuff in. So I don't have to take everything
fixing
out.
the bike.
Fixing the bike on the other side.
Yeah.
Down there, that's been closed for about 50% of the Highland Trail.
Okay.
But I've got a little bottle of shower gel in there.
Right.
And a few odds and sods. I didn't really need that on it, didn't use much of it, so I could have actually done with not taking that altogether.
Okay.
So that's the general sort of setup, and regardless if it's for the Highland Trail or for a weekend adventure, the setup's pretty much the same.
Well, you know where everything is if you do that, and then it's not like you're entering a big event and you're having to invent a new packing system for it. So fantastic. So that concludes our talk with Alan, even though we're now going to go inside and talk about it. So thank you so much for coming in, Alan.
Thank you.
We're now going to pretend that this is the end of the talk, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you.